Dutch artists gloried in the material nature of their world. No one portrayed it more beautifully than Vermeer, but he also found ways to show it as an illusion. Two of his greatest paintings are of a woman reading a letter. We'll reconstruct how one of them was carried out. This is the corner room with the windows that we know from several other paintings by Vermeer. He begins his composition by moving in a table with a dish of fruit on it. It separates us from the woman and makes her seem more private. To fill the wall space behind her, Vermeer puts in a painting that appears in several of his pictures. It shows Cupid. It's based on an emblem meaning that one should only have one lover. Perhaps this was too specific for Vermeer, making it clear that his subject was reading a love letter. So he provides a more ambiguous clue. The half-eaten peach suggests a pleasure tasted but not fulfilled. The reflection on the window in Vermeer's picture looks quite skull-like. Perhaps this is another note of warning on the passage of time, a warning accentuated by the removal of the picture. But painting it over, as Vermeer did, destroyed the balance of the composition. So Vermeer puts in a curtain hanging on a rail that runs right across the top of the picture and increases the quiet theatricality of the scene. Is this a portrait? It seems so natural, a moment frozen as in a snapshot. Yet we know that Vermeer took infinite pains and concentrated thought to achieve the spontaneous. Like the misty lenses and airbrush effects used by photographers of film stars in this century, Vermeer sought to subtly idealize his subject. There is a complete absence of line in the painting. Only color changes give us the contours of the face. In this, Vermeer is unique among painters.
The modeling of the face has then further been accentuated by the reflection of her white color. This very bright white color is sending a light reflection up under her cheek, which makes a very faint reflection rounding the whole cheek very beautifully, just as one sees it happen on the pearl hanging on from her ear, where the light source is being reflected in this large teardrop formed reflection at the top, and the reflection from her color will then be on the bottom edge of the pearl, forming the shape of the whole pearl. The mouth of the girl with the slightly parted lips have also been underpainted in reddish tones, and the lips are very diffuse. The transition from the flesh tones to the lips are very well blended, but the final touch of light on her lip, mainly the two highlights on either side, are consistent of two small dabs of paint, which makes the reflection of the light cast on the slightly moistured lips, and one sees a lit area to the right of the mouth, from where the light passes through the slightly parted lips onto the cheek.
Music can be the food of love, but it need not, as here, be grossly sensual. Vermeer's group seem to be friends rather than lovers, coming together in one of their homes to enjoy an evening of music. has seen the church, but not a lot else is as it was then. But his pictures survive, and over the years his reputation has grown.
We all feel like we know Vermeer. He's an artist who didn't paint many paintings, and we could almost envision them as we sort of sit with our eyes closed. We can see the woman pouring milk. We can see a woman reading a letter. We can see a little street. And yet, it's surprising how little we actually do know of him. He didn't explain what he meant in his paintings, what his themes were, what his ideas were, what his underlying philosophical concepts were. How did he come upon this ability to create the sense of light and space in his works? How did he discover the secrets of perspective? He leaves so much to the imagination that he is an artist who will always speak to us, who will always allow new insights and new visions.
All over Europe and America, his pictures have been re-examined, probed and cleaned in preparation for their first joint exhibition for 300 years. Perhaps for the first time ever, a majority of his paintings can be seen together. When so little is known about the artist, his pictures, even the X-ray of them, remain the principal source of our knowledge. The loss of paint and cracks have to be repaired, dirt removed and lost areas restored, confirming Vermeer as one of the most gifted of that golden age of Dutch art.
Vermeer may not have been well known to a wide public before the 20th century, but among those connoisseurs and collectors in the Netherlands, particularly Amsterdam, he was greatly valued. This incredible painting of the Milkmaid actually appeared in a sale in 1719, where it was described as the famous Milkmaid by Vermeer of Delft, artful, which is a wonderful term. You don't see that very much in descriptions of paintings. And it gives you a sense of the sort of forcefulness and power of this painting, which is always amazing. You look at reproductions of the Milkmaid and you think, my gosh, this must be a huge painting. When you come up to it, it's really very small. And how is it that Vermeer created this sense of monumentality in this woman who seems to embody all of the strength and goodness and vigor of the Dutch people? This very free and expressive technique you see particularly on the bread. It gives a sparkling and animated character to the bread that makes it feel very alive. And it's this quality, which is not something that one normally sees in nature, that makes people think that perhaps he used an optical device called a camera obscura to actually conceive the painting. Not that he actually painted through a camera obscura, but that the diffused highlights at different points of focus are optical effects that he would only have found in such an optical device.
As the Dutch poet Gergen said,
"It is not possible to describe for you the beauty of it. All painting is dead in comparison."
Vermeer's father was well-to-do, a silk weaver as well as an art dealer. Perhaps from him Vermeer gained his appreciation of the texture and variety of fabrics, which he displayed with such skill in his paintings. Like his father, he too became an art dealer. Religion was to impinge on his life. Coming from a Protestant home, at the age of 20 he married a Catholic.
He was willing to be converted to Catholicism for the sake of the marriage. He married into a family which was not welcoming. His mother-in-law was against it, as far as we can tell from the beginning. But the interesting thing is that he managed to win over everybody concerned, and when the mother-in-law became one of his most assiduous supporters, leaving money in her will to him personally.